am so excited right now. Like 10-year-old Liz is super pumped up to do this interview this morning. Have you ever wondered who is behind the face of your favorite cartoon characters? I always did. So this weekend, Emerald City Comic Con, several voice actors will be in town. And joining me now, Marurice, LaMarche, and Rob Paulsen. And I want you guys at home to stop what you're doing and see if you can guess what voices these guys are. So I'll let Marurice, you go first.
Go ahead, guess. I'm not talking until we actually...
Sound like my dad.
Until somebody phones in. Greetings, my friend. This is the brain. You are under my control. You will do whatever I say until Pinky says...
Oh, yeah. Well, what I'm going to say is I don't care what you say. Liz is now helping me take over the world. She's way easier on the odds than you, Brain.
A new partner, did
yes.
you think? Yes, taking over the world through beauty instead of brain.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So you got Pinky and the Brain here.
Pinky,
also,
Brain. Yeah.
Among a million other voices.
That's right. Hello, nurse. I'm Yakko. Nice to see you.
Animaniacs.
Yes.
I love it.
Absolutely.
We don't have time for the countries of the world song.
No, that's okay.
Right, not yet. But we did do that during the break. How do you get into voice acting? Because you two have had really great careers doing this.
Well, you sign up for my workshop, and no, you know, there's so many paths to it, and you almost fall sideways into it from other forms of performing. I was a stand-up comedian back in the 1980s, and I got spotted by a voiceover agent at the Comedy Store who saw all the impressions in my act and said, with your facility for doing voices, you could just twist and create and cross-pollinate, you know, impressions and come up with new characters to do cartoons. And would you be interested in that? I said, why wouldn't I be interested in that? Of course. You sit, you read, no memorization, no hair, lighting, makeup.
Job, yeah.
Fantastic. It was a year before I got a job, but the first job I got was on Inspector Gadget. I played the chief on Inspector Gadget.
Oh my gosh.
I went right into...
You did?
Dr. Egon Spengler from the real Ghostbusters. And from there, it just, you know, it tunneled forward. It was unbelievable.
I'm not kidding. This is literally my childhood because every show you're saying, I watched all of them. I haven't had
Guess what? Your childhood is a middle-aged guy from Detroit.
And Toronto.
And Toronto.
And Toronto. Yeah. I just think it's so interesting. How do you come up with some of these voices? I mean, the Brain sort of sounds a little, you know, Orson Welles, you know?
There's some Orson Welles to him, but I mean, very often, I know you and I work this way, we see the model sheet of the character, and we just sort of, you know, just decide to inhabit that character and go, what would he sound like? And when I saw a Brain with that furrowed brow, I was sure they'd drawn Orson Welles as a mouse, so I just thought, okay, they want Orson Welles. Turns out that wasn't who they had in mind at all. He was based on a writer named Tom Minton who worked at Warner Brothers Animation. If I'd have done Tom Minton's voice, I'd have lost the job because he's in monotone.
The truth is that when Maurice went to read, this is, you know, Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain were Steven Spielberg shows, and the truth is that when Maurice went in and, you know, had that sensibility to come up with that Orson-esque kind of vibe for the Brain, that was it. And they were basically canceled every other audition.
Well, you also did Yakko Warner.
Yes, I did.
I love it.
Oh, good for you. Wow, look at how much you're smiling. How wonderful.
Yakko was one of my favorite characters growing up, and now as an adult, I feel like I even understand more than I did as a kid.
Oh, those jokes were definitely written on two different, but that's traditionally...
Timed release humor.
It has staying
and that's
power.
the genius of what those folks did. They did it on Rocky and Bullwinkle, they did it on Looney Tunes, and those cartoons are designed absolutely to not condescend to the audience, so that 20 years down the road they are relevant. In Animaniacs today, people love the music and they love the subversive humor, and that is all by design.
They just don't make them like they used to.
We have the little ones. The little ones are coming up to our tables at these Comic Cons.
Yeah.
And they're pointing to, we want Pinky and the Brain. They're 8. And I'm going, how do you know about Pinky and the Brain? Since it hit Netflix, the parents and this new generation of little ones is watching the show.
And that's exciting because I didn't realize this.
It holds up.
That it holds up, and you can rewatch them now. They're all on Netflix.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize that.
Totally
they're pretty cool. And I also, it's interesting, I was Raphael in the original Ninja Turtles back in 1987. And the cool thing about this gig is nobody cares what we look like. I'm now Donatello on the latest iteration of Turtles with a 25-year gap.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 50% of the Ninja Turtles in one old guy. If I live to be 100, I can knock all of them out.
Make sure you check out Emerald City Comic Con.
Oh, yes,
it's going to be a great time.
This weekend.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Liz. I'll see you in the water tower.
And when I take over the world, you shall be spared, my dear.
Oh, well, thank you. Maybe I can have a job in the administration.
Oh,
yes.
no.
You will be my Kellyanne.